All right, that's me. Raise your hands if you have ever been asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? It probably sounded more like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Okay, keep your hand up, keep your hand up. Now keep your hand up for real if you're currently doing that thing or you're on track to be doing that thing soon. But take a look around. Is anyone surprised? Okay, you can put your hands down. Is anyone surprised? No, because we generally don't assume that we pick our future careers based on our childhood dreams. I mean, imagine Barack Obama running into his first grade teacher, and she says, "President? What happened to becoming a firefighter?" Right? That is simply we make our decisions. Fun fact, Barack Obama did say he wanted to become president when he grew up. But only 1 in 10 people actually go on to obtain the dreams of their childhood. The rest of us abandon that notion around the age of 25, and many of us resign ourselves to jobs that make us utterly miserable. One of the reasons I went on to get my PhD is because I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I also didn't know what it meant to get a PhD. In fact, after committing to a program, I went back to visit one of my professors, and I've been in her office many times, but it was the first time I realized that she had a degree hanging on her wall that said, Doctor of Philosophy. And I said, Rhonda, you have a doctorate in philosophy too? And if you're chuckling, it's because PhD literally stands for Doctor of Philosophy. You see, I struggled because I really thought I had one job. And that something magically was going to happen to me one day, like puberty or menopause. And I would wake up and bam, I would know exactly what I was supposed to do with my life. But that's simply not how it works. And I honestly don't think it's detrimental to ask children what they want to be when they grow up. I just think it's the wrong question. What if instead we begin to ask, who are you becoming as you grow? My first career was being a college student. Don't worry, I had a great student internship called pre-K through high school. And I decided to go into college and then to keep going and going, bachelor's, master's, doctorate. Now, a doctoral program is about 5 years generally, and going into my 5th year, I knew that I didn't want to follow the rest of the members of my cohort into academia. And I didn't want to tell anybody, because I felt stupid. I felt afraid, and I wasn't sure what my peers were going to think. I mean, all this time, and all this investment from the people around me, preparing me for one job that I didn't even want to do. And then I had a friend recommend that I read this book by educator activist Parker Palmer called Let Your Life Speak, Listening for the Voice of Vocation. And the general premise is this: before I can tell my life what I want to do with it, I must listen to my life telling me who I am. I must listen to my life telling me who I am. That takes an incredible amount of self-awareness. And truth be told, according to organizational psychologist Tasha Eurich, most of us are not self-aware. 95% of us think we are, but in reality, only about 10 to 15% of us actually are. Now, luckily for us, there are a lot of great opportunities and resources to cultivate self-awareness. Unfortunately for some of us, they all require that we intentionally pause and reflect on our lived experiences. When is the last time you paused to reflect on anything? I don't think I paused to reflect all day, right? However, there are a lot of benefits to becoming more self-aware, in addition to getting a better sense of who you are, professionally and personally. But here's where I get stuck. If I'm to listen to my life speak, what am I listening for? What does my life's voice sound like? So, I have a 9-year-old son. And the way we get to school every morning is we commute by public transportation. And most days it's pretty uneventful. You get on the bus, you get off the bus. But when he was about 6 or 7, It was the first time that we got on the bus, and it was packed. And it was one of those long buses, like connected by the accordion thing. And so we got on the bus, and my first order of business was to make sure I had him a seat. So we go down the bus, and maybe about 6 rows in, we found a seat. So I said, you sit here, and I'll make sure that you know when to get off. And I'm thinking at the time that I'm just gonna go a few rows behind him. Next thing you know, I'm in the back of the bus, like Rosa Parks, standing. And I can't even see him anymore because the whole aisle is full of people. And so as our stop's approaching and I don't know what to do, I do the only thing I know to do, and I say, Charlie! And he said, yeah! Next stop! Okay! And he gets off the bus, I get off the bus, and we go on our merry way. But you know what's interesting? We never practiced for that scenario. And yet, he still knew the sound of my voice. How? Well, Charlie has had a lot of practice at identifying my voice on repeat in his life. But Charlie has had a lot of practice of identifying my voice and evaluating whether or not it was trustworthy. I have been on repeat throughout his life. So my question to you is, what has been on repeat throughout yours? You see, it's no surprise that I would apply to speak at TEDx. In 5th grade, I was selected to give the DARE graduation speech. For those of you who don't know, DARE was a drug prevention program offered in public schools in the 80s and 90s. Fast forward to 8th grade, and we had some Holocaust survivors come to visit our school. And I was selected to speak and represent the whole 8th grade class then. Fast forward to my high school graduation. Now, historically at my high school, the people who spoke at graduation were the valedictorian, that wasn't me, the salutatorian, also not me, the student body president, not me, and yet somehow I was asked to close out my high school graduation. So of course, I'm standing on the stage before you today. So I say it again, what's on repeat in your life? What are the things that you do for fun? What are the things that you do for free, though you should be charging? What do you do when you feel happy? What do you do when you feel sad? When things feel unjust? I got a glimpse of what I do when I feel that things are unjust. Miss Spencer in the 5th grade gave an assignment that I thought was too much work. And I thought, I'm gonna do something on behalf of the class. I'm gonna speak up. So I picked up my imaginary protest sign, and I began to stop around the room, and I said, I'm prostituting! And she said, Erica, first of all, sit down. Second of all, the word is protesting. Protesting. And I think she got the message, though. You know, another interesting thing about this commute with Charlie is that not only was he listening for my voice, or able to identify my voice, loud, chaotic bus, but he also was paying attention. He was paying attention. So back in October, I switched jobs. I was formerly the director of community engagement for the Chicago Bulls, and then I did return to my first love, working on issues of health inequality. So, first day of my new job. I know the bus I'm going to take. I know the stop I got to make. And what was nice about this stop in my commute is this is the last stop, Union Station. Everybody has to get off the bus, right? So I'm feeling good, and I'm looking good, fresh to death. So I get on my bus, got my earbuds in like many people, and then I have this stop. It's like, oh, I didn't do a LinkedIn post to tell everybody else I was starting my job. So I started working on my masterpiece. Excuse me, ma'am? Ma'am, I'm sorry, I didn't even see you, but you need to get off this bus. We had blown past the stop. Not only did I miss my stop for the first day of my new job, I was late to my meeting and I was sweaty when I finally got there. I was too far away and I was like, well, how do I get to work? And the fastest way for me to get there was to walk. Because I wasn't paying attention. And when we don't pay attention, guess what happens? We can miss our stop. And not all of us have a kind bus driver to tell us when we miss our stop and to get off. But in addition to identifying the things that are on repeat that help to reveal more of who you are, you also need to identify the people, places, and things on repeat that make it harder for you to hear your life's voice. So now, I want you to think about what times we're in right now. Because this is really important in times of unpredictability, uncertainty, and anxiety. See, we become really good at identifying the problem. And it's commonly recommended that we seek data-driven solutions. But what about our life-driven solutions? Informed by who we are becoming as we grow. So now I want to close with an activity. I'm going to give you a problem, okay? May not ordinarily be a problem you're interested in solving, but just work with me. So, 2018, Charlie is in preschool. And he starts coming home singing them good jams, right? Yankee Doodle went to town, riding on a pony, stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni. You guys sounded really good. So I have two thoughts. The first thought is, why are we teaching our children a song where they're learning that macaroni is synonymous with a feather? I mean, imagine if I said for dinner we're going to have feathers and cheese. That's just not, let me get to the second thought. The second thought is, why do children know more about Yankee Doodle than Harriet Tubman? Our kids need a new canon, right? And so that's the problem I'm giving to you, is that who we teach often doesn't reflect, how we teach often doesn't reflect who we teach. So I want you all to be silent, and if that was the problem that you were charged to solve, start coming up with your ideas in your head. You hear that? That's your life. Speaking, with every idea emerging within you. And I guarantee the range of solutions in this room are as varied as the people in this room. So I decided I wanted to be invested in doing something about this. So, one thing that's been a repeat in my life is music. My parents put me in piano at the age of 4, and my best friend Dennis and I, during recess, when everyone else was running around and playing, we would turn the jungle gym into our music studio where we would write songs. Batman, in the eyes of the skies, but you better watch out because it's flying in the skies. You want to hear more? Something? No? Keep going. In college, undergrad, I actually minored in poetry. And what was my Achilles heel when I wrote poetry? I rhymed too much. Keep going. 2010, I completed my postdoc at the VA hospital, and I began to work in education on issues of equity and access. So here we have this very real issue of children knowing more about fake people than real people. And what made sense for me, based on what my life was speaking, is I started writing and performing children's songs about Black women who changed the world. Because I firmly believe that if we simply take the time to cultivate awareness, where we are identifying the patterns of our life's purpose will begin to reveal itself. So that the only thing you need to worry about being when you grow up is you. Be you.